Hi, my name is Brian Holinka. I'm a senior designer on World of Warcraft, and I focus on PvP.
So before we jump into the Warlords of Draenor, we're going to ask a kind of an individual question about your Twitter is named Holinka Korea currently. So is there anything about Korea that made you change your Twitter ID?
I'm just really excited to be in Korea for the first time ever. This is an opportunity for me to learn more about Korean players, especially with regards to World of Warcraft. So I just honestly wanted Korean players to know that I was here and that I was here to learn about them. So it's been a really fun time for me, really eye-opening, and I'm really having a fun time.
So you joined the WoW team in 2012 August. So after you came to Blizzard and joined the WoW team, what kind of changes have you made in the WoW PvP?
When I joined the team, I kind of wanted to assess what the situation was and what our higher level goals were for PvP. And certainly it was just to increase the participation and provide PvP as another thing that makes World of Warcraft great. It's one more thing you can do in the World of Warcraft universe. So starting with arenas, we removed arena teams to make that remove that barrier from players participating. I think that was really important for allowing greater participation numbers in that activity. We've also made the controversial decision to take resilience off of gear, which has had some consequences, and we're fully aware of them and sensitive to it, and working very hard to improve that situation. But in the end, I think we've tried very hard to make PvP a bigger part of the game and more accessible to more people, because in the end, we all want more people to kill. Also, I'd like to just add one of the main reasons I became more active on things like Twitter was I really wanted PvP players to know that there was someone at Blizzard focused on PvP and that their concerns were important to us, and that's something that I think has really had a very positive effect on the PvP community.
So before you came to Blizzard, you participated in games such as Homefront and Frontline. So have you kind of made these systems into the WoW and just coordinated it?
Well, I think my background as a first-person shooter designer before World of Warcraft was very useful for certain parts of the game, like battlegrounds or arenas, where we don't do a lot of messaging all that well. There's still some things we need to do to improve that, for sure. But it's certainly a situation where the genre, the FPS genre, has a lot of standards for how they communicate to people, and we aren't doing those things very well in PvP and WoW. So I think that certainly is a thing, but there's also a lot of big differences between FPS games and MMOs, specifically just how combat plays out. So that's been a unique challenge for sure.
So we're kind of concerned about how much of the Warlords of Draenor is completed. So maybe when should we get access to beta, or maybe when should it get released?
Yesterday. What, you guys think it's your invite? Sorry, no. We aren't really talking about a specific timeline right now. I would say that we are making really great progress. We're really happy where things are going, but it's just kind of been the tradition at Blizzard to put as much time as needed to make a product great, and Warlords of Draenor is no different. So I think I wouldn't be too concerned that things are going to go too long. We're making great progress, we're on schedule, and we're really happy about how things are turning out so far.
So Warlords of Draenor, it looks like the past WoW players come back and they just join in this next expansion. So that's why you're giving out free level 90s to all those box purchasers. So, but in other hand, there could be some controversy about could they really delve into WoW as soon as they get into level 90, because they didn't play WoW for such a long time. So is there any systems or mechanisms in the Warlords of Draenor which could prevent this?
Yeah, so we're very sensitive to that, and we agree that people are coming back, and we want to make sure that when they do come back, we give them a great experience right off the bat. So we're working on a kind of starter experience for all players who are playing the expansion, whether they come back new or not. They'll play through it and they'll kind of have the option to kind of have things handed back to them slowly, so they have an opportunity to learn about their class again, because it's very challenging as we've created more expansions to make sure that we provide players cool, new, exciting things, but don't make the game so complicated it's impossible to play. So we are providing a new starter experience for all players that start playing Warlords of Draenor.
So could it be something like a tutorial kind of system?
It's more of like a initial questing experience, very similar to the Death Knight area from the Burning Curse, Wrath of the Lich King.
So after you max out your garrison to the max level, whichever it is, then like what kind of contents are there you can enjoy? So maybe you can like visit other people's garrisons, or maybe it's just a wild idea, but you can just like lay siege to other garrisons. Of course, maybe it could not happen, but is there any contents fit for the garrisons after the max level?
So I think this is two parts. One, there is a lot of content in the terms of followers, the team you kind of assemble for your garrison. You'll have the ability to kind of go out in the world and find followers by doing different things in the game, whether it be raiding or PvP. There are guys that you can bring back to your garrison, and they kind of send them on missions and things like that. So there's a lot of replayability, a lot of customization that happens with the garrison. But furthermore, 6.0 is not the end of garrisons for us. Certainly as we watch how players interact with their garrisons, I think as we play with them on our own, I think we're going to all kind of be inspired of, hey, what other cool thing can we do with garrisons? So as the expansion progresses, we can add more to the garrison and the garrison experience. And certainly we understand that players think the idea of some type of garrison PvP sounds super cool. So we think it sounds super cool too. So just what is it that we do there? We don't know yet, but I definitely think that future patches in Warlords of Draenor are a great opportunity for us to add more to garrisons.
After you announced in the BlizzCon the Trial of the Gladiators, but you recently told people that you are not going to develop it anymore, so is there anything other PvP-related contents that we could look out for?
Certainly, when we removed the Trial of the Gladiator, we decided we could commit those resources specifically related to arena queuing to something else. So instead of Trial of the Gladiators, we are re-adding and improving a feature called Skirmishes that was removed from the game, I think, before Cataclysm. And Skirmishes are really exciting because it allows you to queue for an arena as a solo player or as a group and play for rewards without really suffering any rating penalty. So it's a great way for players to kind of start doing arena without much consequence and kind of learn a new class or play with friends without hurting each other's ratings. So that's certainly good. But also for the hardcore players, we felt like it was important for us to start adding some support for community-run tournaments. That's why we've continued to leave the tournament gear in the game, which allows players who run tournament mode war games to pretty much have all like one set of gear that every player is required to use, but doesn't have to spend the entire season playing to get. And we think this will really foster our community of structured tournaments, which ultimately is what our hardcore players enjoy most.
So for the Vista Pandaria, the Pandarian characters have lots of features which is similar to the character remodeling these days. So there are a lot of motions. So is there any quotes about character models and its motions that you could tell?
Yeah, every time I see a new screenshot of an updated character model, I really want to see the animations personally. I think anyone who was at BlizzCon that saw the female gnome animations, like that was when you were really blown away. Like, she was cute in the screenshots, but when she starts moving, it's just like, oh my gosh, I have to make a female gnome. So I'm really excited, honestly, when I go back to work to try and like load up one of the models and see if I can see it running around. And I can't wait personally. It's hard to go play the game on live and miss all those cool additions. So I don't have anything to say other than I can't wait either. Our animators just do such awesome work. It's going to be really cool to see what they do for every single race that we have.
And another question is, vaguely, how much hours per race did the dev team put in the character model?
I don't really know, to be honest. It seems like a lot, but I think you know, to the point of the animations, to just kind of say how much more work it is, going back and trying to make beards animate or like hair. There's a lot more work to do than just what was made in the original models. Like I think if you saw the male orc casting animation, he was originally just had these oven mitts that he was kind of casting with, and now his fingers are going like this. So there's just so much more work going into them. They're doing an amazing job. As a player, I'm really excited.
So could you tell us more about the new PvP zone Ashran and how more than 100 people gets to play in the PvP zone?
So one of the ways that we can increase the player count in a zone like Ashran is to kind of distribute where players are fighting. The challenge that we have is the more players in a certain area kind of have an exponential increase in performance requirements. So it's best for us to kind of spread the objectives out, the important objectives out throughout a zone. So for Ashran, the way we designed it is there's kind of this central objective tug-of-war going on between the Alliance and Horde fortresses, where the two sides are kind of pushing each other back and forth. But there are some very important capture points spread around the outside of the zone. And capturing those points makes you have a greater success, or greater chance of success winning the central tug-of-war battle. So in a way, players are kind of encouraged to go to the middle and fight in this big epic tug-of-war, but also it's super important to spread out. So what we hope is going to happen, and what we expect to happen, is there will be this big central battle, but there will also be some very large-scale battles going around on the outside of the zone as well. As a result, we should be able to really get a lot more players in the zone.
So there are dungeons and there are raids, but you didn't mention anything about the scenarios. So how many scenarios is it prepared, and how is it kind of planned out?
I don't know the number right now, but often the way we implement scenarios is we use a lot of the existing world to do them. They're kind of themed around what else is developed in the continent. So I don't know a certain number right now, but I know that they're fairly easy for us to implement. And a lot of players are, our designers are spending a lot of time formulating ideas based on the existing continent of Draenor. So I don't know a certain exact number, but I expect there will be quite a lot.
So there are a lot of mobile MMORPGs famous in Korea, so a lot of players play it. So as well, World of Warcraft is going to its 10th anniversary. Is there any plans for like mobile-related contents, or maybe anything you can play in your cell phone, or what you can? So what is your dev team's kind of point in making the WoW connected to mobile?
You know, World of Warcraft was designed with PC in mind, specifically the PC interface and controls, and that's really where we think it works best. And there's really no plans to make any version of World of Warcraft on any mobile device right now. I think the best way that you can actually interface with the World of Warcraft, besides our existing World of Warcraft Armory mobile app, would be Hearthstone. I mean, Hearthstone really plays super well on the iPad, tablet, and looking forward to iPhones and Androids as well. So I certainly think that that other franchise, that other title, is a great way to interact with the Warcraft universe on a mobile device. But we just, as I said, don't really feel like WoW specifically would play very well on a mobile device.
So as a follow, is there any plans for like pet battles or like garrisons? These are not really high-tech kind of contents, but you can still kind of touch it in the mobile phone. So
yeah, we think that those definitely have potential, interacting with pet battles and garrisons. I don't think we have anything planned right now for those, but we're always exploring our options.
So for WoW, most of the times after the BlizzCon, it comes in the later year, like in the first quarter or the second quarter, but it doesn't have any release dates yet, so it's kind of getting longer than expected, and people are looking forward to it as well. So is there any reason that the length is kind of more longer?
I think, well, it's hard to really determine. I know people love to play guess the date. It's like one of the most fun games I get on Twitter, where people are asking me like, well, what's the desired length of an arena season, and if you were planning a vacation, when would you not plan it, and things like that. So I know people are really trying to find the date, and we're so glad everybody's excited to play Warlords of Draenor. We certainly are super excited to get it out into everybody's hands, but it's just one of those things where we don't like to speculate on dates because we think it sends mixed messages to people. When we know the date, we want to let everybody know the date, but know it for sure, because we don't want to say, oh, it's going to be on this day, and then, oh, well, we decided it's going to be 2 weeks later, and then people are confused. So that's really why we hold off on those dates. But work is really progressing great on them. Content is coming along super duper well, and we continue to provide the community with a lot of cool updates on our garrison art, our player models. Another one just came out today. So I think players can see we're making progress, and we'll get it to you as soon as we can.
So character remodeling has always been an issue since the, I don't know, like Burning Crusade or whatever. So, but it's coming out in the Warlords of Draenor. So is there any particular reason that you launched this character remodeling in this expansion other than any other?
I think, well, it's a matter of the technology that we've developed for animation, kind of getting to the point now where we feel like we can deliver this content at a much better quality level than in the past. I think the rest of our art has also gotten up to a point where now the character models, the difference between the character models and the armor models and other art assets is really starting to show. Certainly in the Burning Crusade Lich King era, obviously the new art looked a little bit better, but now we're just at a point where our artists, the work they're doing is just so much beyond the original character models. So it's just the point where we used Mists of Pandaria and the Panda models as kind of the test bed for these characters, and worked out the kinks with just that one race. And now we learned so many lessons, we're able to apply that wholesale to all the other races. So that's why it's been timed.
So in terms of graphics, we know we're going to have the character model as well, but there's also that the armors in the original WoW days or in Burning Crusade, there are a lot of epic gear, but they're very kind of clumsy in the way you look at it now. So is there any way to remodel the graphics of the older version of the armors or the items as well? Because it's not really gonna fit into this new remodeled character.
Sure. I think that is maybe an opportunity. It doesn't make a lot of sense for us to go back and pick out specific items and say, well, this one's going to get the treatment or that one's not, because there's so much content. I mean, you have to think that content took us a whole expansion to produce. What might be a better solution is we use those models and those armor sets as inspiration for future sets and possibly update them that way. I think it would be probably too much to ask to go back and redo all that stuff, especially when it would prevent us from creating new content for players right now. So certainly, and quite honestly, it also has the same problem as player models, is that some players are very attached to that old art, so we have to be very good about updating the art, but still keeping the spirit of those cool armor and weapon pieces. So, like I said, I think it's just probably a better solution to use that art model as inspiration for future stuff.
So there are a lot of expansions came out already, but how much expansions are you looking forward to? Maybe not just numbers, or maybe
sure.
How much?
Well, we've said we want to quicken the pace of the expansions, and that's certainly something we've changed the entire structure of the team to do. I can tell you for a fact that we've already begun work on formulating the plans for the next expansion and the one after that. So we're very much have a big plan here of keeping content coming, and hopefully at a quicker pace that we do even right now. So yeah, a lot. I can't see WoW being gone 5 years from now. I feel like we're all people who love it are still going to be playing it, and we're still going to be making content for people as long as they want to play it. So this game, it's going to be here a long time, no doubt.
So as expansions as their expansion gets coming out, then there are going to be more content, right? So then World of Warcraft client is going to be like the data and the hard drive couldn't really get to it. So is there any technologically, is it possible to kind of shrink it, or is there any?
Well, certainly we have streaming technology that we use already, so that you can play the game before you have the full thing downloaded. I think certainly as the game gets bigger, that may be something we would have to be concerned with. I don't really have information on our players and how much they're struggling with this, but certainly if it's a problem we're not aware of, please let us know, because I think it would behoove us to know if it's becoming a big problem for people.